This is a review of the PS5 after 4 years of ownership. The PS5 has been out for over 4 years now, and it's only gotten better since I purchased it. So today, let's go over why I've kept it as my main way to play games all these years, and why the PS5 is the best console to play games on, and nothing has beaten it for me. With some of the best first-party exclusive games like God of War, Astrobot, Spider-Man, and many more, how has the console held up these past 4 years? And what does the future look like for the PS5? I'm going to break down why this console has been working really well for me and my setup for so long. Hi everyone, I'm Grime, and let's talk about it. So far, after 4 years of daily use, the PS5 has held up extremely well, but the black reflective plastic is probably the most easily scratched, so keep that in mind if you plan to move it. I haven't had much, if any, wear and tear on the console itself. If there's one thing I'm glad has improved, it's how well the console has held up from dust getting into the vents. I haven't had any fan noise or overheating problems, even though I don't clean out the dust as often as I probably should. This is better than the PS4, which after a while would sound a lot louder once the dust had collected in it. The PS5 fan is actually very quiet, even when playing longer gaming sessions of several hours. But I can't say the same for the DualSense controllers. I have bought 4 controllers, and 2 of them have had stick drift, making them pretty much unusable now. For those who don't know, stick drift is a flaw that occurs in one or both analog sticks of the DualSense controller. This has caused my controller sticks to act as though I'm still pushing them, even after I let go of them. And it seems very random which controllers get stick drift and which don't, or at least I haven't figured it out yet. And I would love to order new controllers since there's so many special editions, but it's not worth spending more than $70 per controller when they might only last several months. There isn't an easy way to fix this either without technical knowledge to take apart your controller. Outside of the stick drift issues that can occur, the rest of the controller has held up well. The analog sticks and the buttons all work and look great even after a lot of use these past few years. I will cover the DualSense controller more in depth though later in the video, so stay tuned for that. But overall, the PS5 console has held up amazingly well. It works just as well as it did the day I got it, and with software updates has only gotten better over time. Since this console has held up so well, it's going to last you through each new game coming your way, and there's always another new game to play or something in your backlog to finish. Especially with how expensive games are, you really want to make sure you have a console that's going to last you for the long haul. But a console alone, even one as powerful as a PS5, is nothing without a good selection of games for you to play. If you don't have great games to play, there's no reason for anyone to buy your console to begin with. Without great games to play, the PS5 can't be a great console and would not have lasted me this long. The most important thing is that there are memorable, new, and awesome games to play on it. So how does the PS5 stack up on making that process happen? First, let's talk about the exclusive games you have access to. Games like Ratchet Clank, Rift Apart, God of War Ragnarok, Stellar Blade, and many more. These are incredible games with great stories, gameplay, and graphics. Speaking of graphics, you still can only play Black Myth Wukong on PS5, and this was one of the most beautiful games of 2024. There's also the backwards compatibility for PS4, allowing you to play the entire catalog of last generation's games. But there's even more new games coming that I could not believe we are getting in the coming months and years. Xbox, the largest gaming console competitor, has plans to allow more games to release on PS5. Games such as Forza Horizon 5, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Age of Mythology Retold are some of the first games that will become available. If you had told me just a few years ago that this would happen, I would have never believed you. And PlayStation hasn't stated any plans to make more games multi-platform, so you're getting access to an even bigger catalog of games to play. With even more games planned to come to PS5 as well, such as Fable next year. My backlog has only grown larger and larger year after year, and I'm not sure I'll ever get to the end of it. The truth is you're not going to get access to as many games by choosing any other console currently. Now I know PS5 games do eventually get released to PC as well, but not usually day one. All this to say, PS5 going forward is shaping up to be the best choice for new games to play on a console. You might not have the money to drop on all these new games, so you need to know about PS5's game subscription service, PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus is the game subscription service offered by PS5. It gives you access to a large catalog of new and older games that span several console generations. You also get access to cloud storage for save files and online multiplayer for one monthly price. And new games are added to the catalog each month, and this keeps the catalog fresh. But it's not as good as Xbox Game Pass. Most brand new titles that are AAA games will not make it to PS Plus catalog for a long time. And it can be very random what games will be added. Sometimes there are big budget games that come in clutch, but other months are filled with weaker titles. Take this March for example, we're getting Dragon Age the Veilguard, which released just 4 months ago, and yet we're getting it added already to PS Plus. This is not a game I would normally pay full price for, but it's in the the catalog, so why not give them a try? I actually find that PS Plus has allowed me to really love games, again, by trying things I wouldn't normally play if I had to buy it. There are a lot of great exclusive titles in PS Plus as well. Games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, and God of War give you a great place to start with some of the best games on PS5. It can sometimes be confusing to know what new games are releasing to PS Plus since it does change every month, so if you want easy updates on what new games you can expect, subscribe to the channel because I post new videos every time new PS Plus games get announced. However, even with great games and a subscription option, the next big question has to be, how does the controller perform? The DualSense controller is the newest PlayStation controller. It improves the battery life with a bigger 1560 mAh battery compared to the previous 1000 mAh battery. There's better motion sensing, haptic feedback, and vibration, a built-in microphone, and adaptive triggers. All these improvements make experiencing games that much more immersive. Out of all these upgrades, the one I most enjoy after 4 years of daily use has to be the adaptive triggers. They really improve the experience when playing games, and it hasn't gotten old. Adaptive triggers change how much force is needed to press the R2 and L2 buttons. This makes things like shooting guns or grappling buildings feel a lot more immersive while playing games. Long term, the haptic feedback is great, but I don't use it as much as when it was new. But the adaptive triggers are something I still enjoy in every game I play. However, even with the random stick drift issues, this controller is very impressive. Some games really step up and fully utilize the controller's full potential, but for most games, you'll get a good amount of vibration and haptic feedback. If you want to fully experience what this controller can do, give Astro's Playroom a try first, and it'll show you everything that is possible. The game is completely free and is a great tech demo for this controller. The DualSense controller comes in many different colors and limited edition models, which is awesome if you're a collector or want that special one that really connects with you. And the actual size of the controller is great too. I have kind of larger hands, and this controller fits very comfortably in my hands. But if the controller just doesn't quite satisfy you, there is a more pro controller called the Edge controller. Even with a great controller, you gotta have enough space to keep up with all the games sticking around in your backlog. So let's talk about if the console storage is enough to keep up with modern gaming. Okay, so files are only getting bigger as time goes on. The original PS5 came equipped with a 667GB SSD, and the slim version comes with a 1TB SSD. So definitely get the slim version if you're watching this today and you're planning to purchase a new one. To put this into perspective, Call of Duty Warzone is about 183GB alone. So you could install about 3.5 or so games of that size on this console. Or if you're more into single player games, Monster Hunter Wilds is about 53GB, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is 107GB. Now, if that is not enough space, then you can install an internal SSD for up to 8TB of extra space. But for me, I usually just swap games out routinely to keep the base storage working for me. You can also plug in an external hard drive that will allow you to play PS4 games without eating up your SSD space. But the SSD is really a great highlight here that I don't want to undersell. Then there's the UI and menus of the PlayStation, and it's incredible how many options are available on the PS5 to dial in your own personal experience. The menus are clean, and everything is nicely organized from your list of recent games. There is the Welcome Hub that gives you the option to place widgets and customize the background. There are also settings for organizing your games, managing your controller mic, and a handful of useful parental settings too. The PS5 gives you so many options to customize your gaming experience, and it can be a little overwhelming. But if you want a full breakdown on useful settings and tips for your PS5, I'll leave a link below for a video I made going more in depth on some of the best settings you should know about. The PS5 also allows you to download game updates and full games while in rest mode. So if your internet isn't that fast, you can just download games while you sleep, which is awesome. This has come in handy a lot for me since I have only the included SSD for storing my games. I just started download overnight, and then it's available for me the next day. I've also started using the PS app for your mobile phone a lot more this last year. With the PS app, you can manage your console storage, download and purchase games as well. All these settings make using your PS5 super easy. Okay, so the PS5 has been out since November 2020. Or a little over 4 years. We are halfway through its lifespan, and usually each new console releases around 7 years later. That's about the time between the PS3 to the PS4 and the PS4 to the PS5. There's already a slim version and a pro version of the PS5 for power users. Xbox games will continue to come to the PlayStation, and one day we might even see Halo on PlayStation, which would be absolutely insane. But knowing that Sony will continue to make new exclusive games only available on PS5, there's no reason not to choose the console that has games you can't get anywhere else. But even though this is the best console for games this generation, there are some things I wish Sony would improve on. It would be great to have no more stick drift issues. Like seriously, my PS4 controllers have lasted for years without any issues. And it is such a step backwards how many controllers I've had that ended up having stick drift issues that I can't use anymore. But overall, it's a great console that you can't go wrong with. Amazing exclusive games and one of the largest gaming catalogs out of any publisher out there. And yes, it's true, you could get a PC and have access to a lot of games and do things other than gaming with it. But for a console that you can just have in your living room and share with those around you, the PS5 has been great. There hasn't been anything in the last 4 years to make me switch from the PS5, and gaming has only gotten more expensive over time, so having a console that is going to last for several years is more important than ever. Thanks for watching. Until next time.